If you make electronic music and you want to get that ultra smooth, crystal clear vocal that can cut through the mix, I'm going to show you exactly how to dial it in from scratch. I'm going to build the entire vocal chain in this video, taking it from completely raw, unprocessed vocals to a fully polished, release-ready mix. I'll break it down step by step and explain every creative decision so you can apply this in your own mixes. And all the plugins we'll be using are in the Ultimate Vocal Chain Pro bundle, but you can use these concepts with any tools you want. Let's get started. So let's take a look at this session. We've got a well-edited lead vocal here. You can see that we did a comp to get all the best takes from each of these three, and now we're ready to start mixing.
I could never say what was on my mind. Lost it all searching for you, but I'm still blind.
So the first thing we need in the chain is tuning. So we're going to load up Xpitch. So your tuning algorithm should always go first in your chain. That's because these algorithms are optimized to work with raw vocals. So as long as you have a decently recorded raw vocal, put your tuning algorithm first. That's going to be the best spot for it. You definitely don't want to put it after your reverb and delay and things like that. It just won't work. The next thing you need to do is set your key and scale. So we're going to set this to B flat minor. That's the key of this song. This is also a very important step. Even if you have a well-sung vocal, if you leave it in chromatic, it's just not going to tune as well as it could as if you set the key. So make sure you set the key and scale correctly. Now, if you're planning on recording while you're doing the tuning, like if you were going to be overdubbing in, you might want to use real-time mode. This is going to be no latency, so completely real-time tuning that you can record and not hear any latency. You could also use low latency mode if you still wanted to shift formants around. Also low enough latency to record with. And then you could use HQ mode if you're ready to print your mix and you wanted to do some pitch shifting as well. So let's just hear what this sounds like. Default settings, all we've done is set the key and scale.
I could never say what was on my mind. Lost it all searching for you, but I'm still blind. I could never say what was on my mind.
So a much more solid tuning, it sounds great. The one thing that I would play around with is the transition. Right now we have the transition at the default, which is 25 milliseconds, but I might play around with a faster transition, especially in this genre. Anywhere between 10 and 20 milliseconds is usually a good spot. If you get too fast, you're going to start hearing those robotic artifacts.
I could never say what was on my mind.
And usually for this style, we just don't want that type of effect. We want it to be hard tuned, but not so hard that we get that robotic effect. So I'm going to play around here with somewhere between 10 and 20.
I could never say what was on my mind. Lost it all searching for you, but I'm still blind. I could never be there for you in time. You're so hard to find.
I love what that sounds like, and I'm going to flip it over to real-time mode as well, just so we don't have any latency introduced. So now that we've got it in tune with Xpitch, I'm going to pull up Xvox Pro. And this is where we're going to dial in the main part of our vocal chain. This is where we're going to define the sound and tone and character of the vocal. So I'm going to start with some compression, and this vocalist had some pretty good mic technique. There's no crazy jumps in level, but we're still going to need compression to give us that big, solid, full sound. So take a listen to what happens with this.
I could never say what was on my mind. Lost it all searching for you, but I'm still blind. I could never be there.
So you can hear how much more solid and full it sounds. But I'm going to play around with some different modes here because there's one in particular that I think will give this vocal a super smooth sound, and it's this Mobius mode.
I could never say what was on my mind. Lost it all searching for you, but I'm still blind.
So you can hear how on any word that jumps out a little bit, it's just pulling it back in a really natural way, but it's also bringing up some of those lower level details and just putting it all in the same plane in terms of the mix. And that's exactly why Mobius is such a great tool, especially for this genre. It gives us that ability to get that hyper smooth sound on the vocal.
I could never say what was on my mind.
Now, one thing I did notice as well in these tracks is there was a little bit of noise maybe in between lines.
Lost it all, searching for you, but I'm still blind. I could never be there for you in time. You're so
a little bit of gate might help out with this as well. I'm going to just keep an eye on that and maybe adjust it as we go. But I will play with just a little bit of gate there.
Lost it all, searching for you, but I'm still blind.
Next, I'm going to flip over to the tone and see if I can dial in some better tone here.
Lost it all, searching for you, but I'm still blind. I could never be there for you in time. You're so hard to find. Wait for me, I'm hoping, I'm dreaming, but lost it all, searching for you, but I'm still blind.
So with the tone, we can hear how we're brightening it up, and a lot of that is coming from this vintage Air Plus slider. We now have the vintage and modern modes, and sometimes modern sounds great in this genre. In this case, though, I really like what vintage is doing because it's just a little bit smoother. This vocal is already pretty bright, so we didn't necessarily need to add a ton of air to it. But the vintage one just is bringing out that shiny character that sounds really nice here. Now, whenever I'm applying EQ, I'm also kind of going back to the de-esser. And this is where I'm really kind of bouncing back and forth between tone and de-essing.
Lost it all, searching for you, but I'm still blind.
You hear how smooth we're able to get those S sounds. It sounds really nice with that de-esser, especially with the air that we're bringing in. We're bringing in a lot of high end and air, and we're still able to tame it nicely with the de-esser.
Lost it all, searching for you, but I'm still blind. I could never be there for you.
Now I chose the Brit Clean because this is just a tone curve I really like. It's a model of an analog tool that I really like using for especially this genre. But I might play around with different options here as well. You can see as we flip around, we're getting very different tone curves.
Lost it all, searching for you, but I'm still blind. I could never be there for you in time. You're so hard to find.
So I really like Brit Clean. I think it sounds the best. It sounds tight in the mids and very focused, but it is bringing a nice brightness and natural air to this vocal. Next, I'm going to move on to space. And this is where it's going to get really fun, but this is also a very important part for this particular style. You know, whenever you hear a vocal like this, you generally think it's very spacious. It's got a ton of reverb on it. But if you're not careful with how you apply that reverb, sometimes it can get washed out. So I'm going to show you a trick to avoid that from happening.
Lost it all, searching for you, but I'm still blind. I could never be there for you in time. You're so hard to find.
So I really like the massive mode. I might even push the time up a little bit on it.
Lost it all, searching for you, but I'm still blind. I could never be there for you in time. You're so hard to find.
So the massive mode sounds really nice. It is a little bit of a darker reverb, but it just creates this kind of pad layer. It sounds really good. The one problem I have with it is it's a little too dark, I think. So I'm going to brighten it up with the space tone.
Lost it all, searching for you, but I'm still blind. I could never be there for you in time. You're so hard to find. Wait for me.
So it sounds really nice, but you notice that it's a little bit muddy. It kind of steps on the vocal, especially in some of these faster passages where there's a lot of lyrics happening pretty quickly. I want to avoid that, so I'm going to apply verb ducking. And verb ducking is just going to move that reverb out of the way when the dry vocal is there. I don't need to do too much, maybe 20% or so.
Lost it all, searching for you, but I'm still blind. I could never be there for you in time. You're so hard to find.
As I'm playing with the delay and reverb balance, I'm noticing too that maybe a longer delay, maybe a quarter note delay might fit a little bit better.
Lost it all, searching for you, but I'm still blind. I could never be there for you in time. You're so hard to find.
So what just happened right there is exactly what I'm looking for when I'm applying reverb, especially in this style. You want it to be that when you take the reverb away, it's a massive difference. It sounds like completely drastic. The mix falls apart. But before you do that, you're maybe not even sure if the reverb is there enough. That generally means you have the right amount of reverb. If you're listening to the track and all you hear is reverb and you're like, oh yeah, there's the reverb, I can hear it, over everything, probably you have too much reverb. At the same time, if you take it away and it doesn't sound any different, maybe you're not using enough, or maybe it's just not the right type of reverb for that track. In this case, you notice we listen to it, it sounds clear, it sounds good, but as soon as we take it away, we can tell for sure, wow, the reverb is missing.
Lost it all, searching for you, but I'm still blind. I could never be there for you in time. You're so hard to find.
So I'm liking how that reverb sounds. Let's play around with the SFX. Now here we've got two different but very important controls. We have the SFX, which is going to control what's happening here with whatever algorithm we choose. You can see we've got a ton of different algorithm options here. And we have the enhancer. And the enhancer is just going to apply some tightening, smoothing, excitement. It's just going to kind of take this vocal and polish it up, take it to that next level. So we're going to start actually with the enhancer.
Lost it all, searching for you, but I'm still blind. I could never be there for you in time. You're so hard to find.
So you can hear how it smooths it out even more. It just feels way more cohesive, way more in control with the enhancer. Now with the SFX, we're going to just add a little bit more thickness.
Lost it all, searching for you, but I'm still blind. I could never be there for you in time. You're so hard to find.
So I really like what that's doing. I'm going to level match it just a little bit closer here with the output.
Lost it all, searching for you, but I'm still blind. I could never be there for you in time. You're so hard to find.
Sounds great. I love what this chain is doing. Now the last step of this vocal chain is to add Xrider. And Xrider's job is just to provide some transparent automatic gain adjustments, just to do a vocal ride essentially. It's going to help us when we are placing this vocal in the mix. It's just going to keep that ultra consistent level. It's going to make it easier for us. Now, doing a vocal ride is something I would do manually if I didn't have Xrider. I would do it with automation on the actual volume of the track. And the reason is it's just a great tool for making sure that all the details are brought up, all the words are heard through the mix, and all the loud parts are not kind of overbearing. It just helps that vocal sit in the mix. Vocals are naturally extremely dynamic instruments, and this just helps us place it in a mix and make sure it stays consistent.
Lost it all, searching for you, but I'm still blind. I could never be there for you in time.
So it's very easy to set Xrider. You can see what I just did there. I just pulled the minimum and maximum amounts a little bit closer to the target. Usually somewhere in this 2 or 3 range is good. And then I'm just kind of adjusting the target so that sometimes the true gain line is going down, sometimes it's going up.
Lost it all, searching for you, but I'm still blind. I could never be there for you.
So you can see here, sometimes it's pulling the level back, sometimes it's pushing it up for a syllable or two here. That's just telling us, hey, we've got that target set roughly where it needs to be. Now I'm going to play around with the speed. If we want a slower, more like human-like fader ride, we can use a slower speed.
Lost it all, searching for you, but I'm still blind. I could never.
You can see how this is just making slow, subtle moves. This would be like if you had a finger on the fader and you were just kind of reacting in real time as you were listening. But we can also do a very fast and precise fader ride if we turn the speed up.
Lost it all, searching for you, but I'm still blind. I could never be there for you in time. You're so hard to find. Wait for me.
And for this genre, I really like that faster fader ride. It really does something to kind of give us this like hyper glued together vocal sound. Just works really well in this genre. So I am going to play around with that speed and just fine tune it, but I think somewhere around here is probably good.
Lost it all, searching for you, but I'm still blind. I could never be there for you in time. You're so hard to find. Wait for me.
So you hear how it just sounds so much tighter. All the details are brought up, the quiet parts are up front, but those big, long, powerful notes, they're not jumping way out. They're much more controlled now with Xrider. So let's take a listen before and after all 3 of these plugins, Xpitch, Xvox Pro, and Xrider.
Lost it all, searching for you, but I'm still blind. I could never be there for you in time. You're so hard to find. Wait for me. I'm hoping, I'm dreaming, but I can't see you anymore.
So a massive difference when you hear it all stacked up. Each change that we made, some of them were more significant than others, but each change was, one piece of the puzzle. But when we put it all together and we take it all away, it's amazing at how we were able to take a vocal from completely raw to a fully polished, ready to use mix in just a few minutes. If I wasn't talking through it, I could have done it probably in 3 minutes. I could have dialed in this chain with these tools. So that's exactly how I would dial in this vocal chain to achieve those pristine, crystal clear EDM vocals using Xpitch, Xvox Pro, and Xrider. You can get all of these plugins, which actually come with all the individual Xvox Pro plugins as well, all inside the Ultimate Vocal Chain Pro bundle. If you want to have every plugin you need to get results like this on your vocals, we'll put the link down in the description. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, leave a comment, and subscribe for more tutorials like this. And as always, happy mixing.